It was a really hard week.
So, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It was, um, because I feel like I try really hard in my job, but I just never, like, I make so many mistakes and I feel like I can't, I don't know. It's hard to feel like I've really improved this year.
Yeah.
Um, but, oh, yeah, so it's still very interesting.
Mm,
But I feel quite washed out. I was feeling pretty bad yesterday, but today I guess a bit more space.
yes. Yeah. Mm. Well, it's been an extraordinary year, so I don't think anybody's done improving too much doing anything. So don't give yourself a hard time. Just, yeah, yeah. The judge will get in there and try and tell you. Are you getting assessed soon or something, or do you
Yeah,
have
well,
a
next
fire in you? Yeah.
week. But like on Friday in the morning, one of the senior doctors, there were three there are three of us that are on this unit, surgical unit, and basically sat us down and were like, "You're not like performing very well, and you need to do better," essentially. And it was just really hard to hear because I felt like
Mm.
being late every day, and it's just I'm so exhausted after work, and then it's still like I'm doing a bad job. So I just felt very like
Yeah.
I just feel very deflated,
Mm.
no momentum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just, it's sort of like that. Yeah. Just how did the others feel? Were they?
I'm not sure. I didn't really get to talk to them about it because I had to go to theatre in surgery theatre all day.
Mm.
Being really late again.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
It's,
don't.
yeah. Mm.
I think
Is it,
it's bad.
yeah. 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 So, like with that, can you just hold that little girl who feels those feelings and just sort of like, she's criticised you, don't try and do the best you can, struggling under extraordinary conditions this year, you know, and then somebody comes along and tells you you're not good enough, and just sort of, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and sort of like you can play out what happened as a child, with
I
your,
think I do feel a bit triggered by that. Like I take it quite personally.
yes,
I think they meant it as like a personal thing,
yeah,
but I really took it quite hard.
mm,
It's because I've been feeling like I had been trying really hard, and it just
yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, he might have been, was it a lady or a man?
hasn't.
A man, yeah, he might have been having a hard day too. Like, it mightn't have been really about you. It could have been, you don't know, sort of, yeah.
Well, they get a lot of like emails from different like admin people and different people like staff. So
Yeah.
if they complain about us like not putting paperwork in on time or something, but
Yeah.
like it,
Yeah.
it was just really frustrating
Yes.
because you kind of just expected to be at three different things at once,
Mm,
time,
yeah.
do everything, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, I guess because like I've previously been told I've got ADHD. I think I've talked about this before, and I don't know if that's true, but I do really struggle to multitask and to do those things. I
Mm,
just I feel so mentally disorganized, and then when I'm stressed, it gets worse.
yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Oh, sweetheart. Yeah.
I feel a lot of shame, and I have to like keep facing those people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, darling. Yeah. Mm. So, are you aware of what happens in your body when you feel like this? And just sort of.
I know I tense, and I think I tense to try and stop feelings coming through.
Mm,
Like yesterday, I wanted to cry, but my automatic reaction is to stop that happening. So I haven't like cried about it. I felt like I wanted to, but it feels really wrong to cry, so I just don't.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. So do you notice your breathing?
Yeah, I think it gets more shallow
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and more like up here.
Mm, yeah.
And like my stomach's tensed and I'm just breathing and my throat hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you just feel your feet on the floor at the moment? And just be with yourself. Just feel your feet and feel your buttocks, and just put your hands on your lower belly and just breathe into your lower belly, and just feel as you're like a tree and you've got your roots going down into the earth, connecting deep down into the heart of Mother Earth, and asking for some help at this time if you're feeling overwhelmed and unsupported and criticized. And this little child inside is just totally distraught, just sort of doesn't know how to. She's frightened, angry, feels ashamed, frustrated, whatever all the feelings that are there. Just taking a breath and just making room for those feelings, like letting yourself feel. Just giving them space to be there and just holding that little girl in your heart and just telling her that you're there for her and that you love her and just like, it's kind of like making that cry for help, sort of like, help, I can't, I'm overwhelmed here. And it's like feeling that, that the universe hears you, the Divine Mother hears you, and feeling that like that sprinkling of beautiful golden light coming down over your body, just holding you, supporting you. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Just feeling your feet and the heels and soles of your feet and your toes on the floor. Breath in and letting your feet just surrender into the floor, and then breathing out, just gently pressing your feet into the floor. Feeling as you do that how your pelvic floor can engage. And you can even squeeze your legs together a little. Finding this container of support to hold you at this time. And just following your breath, letting the breath come in and just open and releasing. And letting the breath come out. And as you let the breath come out, can you just blow out the candle? Sort of gently blow out a candle, taking the breath into your belly, breathing out, blowing out the candle. And as you blow out that candle, just like feeling these feelings that have been, held on the inside, the tears, the anger, whatever it is, the frustration, the fear. And just imagine that through your mouth, you could release this uh, like find a sound that could be that. It could just be a little, it could be, it doesn't have to be a loud sound. It just could be anything, just like letting it, just a little sound, just your mouth can, it's almost like you could yawn, like have a yawn so that the back of your throat opens and letting out that sound.
Oh, sorry. I feel kind of like I'm wanting to freeze.
Yes. Yeah.
I always find that when I'm stressed,
Mm.
one of my bad habits is usually I can just go to bed when I'm ready, but if I'm really stressed, I feel kind of stuck and I'll just stay like on my phone and I won't.
Yeah.
Like I just feel.
Yeah.
I feel like that's part of just feeling
Yeah. Yeah.
like there's no motion in my body or my. I don't know how to explain it.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that's exactly, that is a response in the nervous system, the freeze response. It's kind of like, like in the medical profession, they freeze bodies to hope sometime that they'll be able to find a solution. I think we did that as a child when there's absolutely no way that we could live, with what's happening, or it's unbearable, that we actually freeze out ourselves. I think our soul does that so that at some future time we can unfreeze and that there can be some help for us. And just sort of so
I feel like I've been stuck in that for
yeah,
weekends,
yeah, yeah,
which isn't uncommon, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's no wonder, Irene, you're a sensitive, beautiful young woman who's been through a lot and just sort of and evolving, kind of like now at this time as the energy comes through, it's hitting these real frozen parts and just sort of, yeah. So it's not beating yourself up for that. Like the critic will get in and try and tell you that you're wrong, you're bad, you shouldn't have done this, or you should do that. Just seeing, just accepting that little child, she's frozen and she like, this needs to be held and kept warm, and just put her in a little warm place and put a little blanket around her or a manky blanket or something. We'll give her a teddy bear or something, just yeah. So I told you that's been my journey too. I've had to go through those freezing things and just sort of, yeah. I've had the electric blanket or those manky blankets with the electric thing in them, that's what I've got one of those and I just, have you seen them?
No.
I've still got it up in the cupboard. I'll show you. So this is what it looks like. It's made of soft, it's a blanket that opens out and it's got a thing on it, like an electric thing, and you just put it on like an electric blanket, but you can adjust the temperature. And so if I'm really feel like freely frozen feeling, I'll just wrap myself in it like this, just put it around like that, I comfort myself and just hold myself in that until I get warm. So, and yeah, because it's a physiological, like it's like when ice melts, there's a coldness that happens with that, and so as this energy comes out, we feel really cold, and just so it's just keeping yourself warm with that, rather than like when our tendency is just to freak out and want to block it out again. But if you can stay with it and just think, what does this part need? It needs warmth and it needs support and needs comfort. So yeah. So if you could just imagine that blanket's around you and holding you, supporting you. Yeah. And it's normal when you're going through change, like you're coming into empowering yourself, and being the expression of your true spirit in your body. It's normal for the fears to be there, and it's normal for those fears to come up big time, and because it's like we're just about to jump into the ocean and we're scared of the water, so yeah, so it's a very normal thing to be happening, and so yeah, so it's just yeah. So this guy criticizing you would have triggered um, old painful memories that were never sorted out, like this as a child when you couldn't answer back or you couldn't speak up for yourself, so you froze. And that was probably a pretty smart thing to do, because if you'd spoken up for yourself, you might have got whacked or punished or something in some way. And it's just now that so what's happened with this guy, it's just triggered those responses. And well, not just triggered, it has triggered those responses that are painful, but it's happening for a reason. Like, it's all these things that trigger us are opportunities to start to feel, because we can't heal what we can't feel. So while it's still frozen and locked away inside, um, we can't heal, because it's just like that energy. We're using all our energy to block all that down. That song, don't cry out loud, keep it inside, learn how to hide your feelings. Have you ever heard of that? No, it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's just so and that's what we do. We just hold it all inside, particularly if it's been something that we couldn't speak up about at the time because it would have been dangerous, or hurt ourselves or hurt someone else. So we hold it all inside, and yeah. So now it's just like now holding that little child as she comes up, freezing, and just hold her and tell her, and giving her something warm. Imagine you've got that blanket around you, and that even though it's warm day, still you can still feel that cold, and just let yourself hold that, and then that's why just making little tiny sounds, like letting, and what happens in the throat, which we talked about last week. The true folds do that. The false folds come over. The false folds are the folds that they come over to protect us. They come over when we sleep, so food doesn't go down our airways, and they come over at times when we're stressed. And so we've learned to do that, like as if we're going to cough, and lock everything inside, so that and that's kind of been the door, that's been the lock that's been put on our throat chakra, the throat center, to stop us expressing ourselves. So now when this movement is happening where we're building this safe container, so that pain is held, the pain can come up, but then it needs to be expressed to release, because it's been trapped inside. But in the releasing of it, the keeper of this trapdoor, in your throat, doesn't know what's happening. There's energies rising, and then it's trying to keep the lid on, and so that's and it's just by doing these little things, like, well, you can feel that feeling of that happens. Can I have a yawn? And can I imagine that I'm smiling in the back of my throat, and that will open up that area. And then even making us, like just a little sigh sound, that's enough. You don't have to have a big, at the moment, any big sound. It's just like teaching your body again, teaching your system and your soul that, or teaching this part of your ego that's frightened, that it's safe, and that it actually feels good to make little sounds, and to feel something and go, or whatever that is. So I mean, I had to go through exactly the same thing. I had held all my feelings inside too, and that's how come I developed this this work too. Yeah. Mm. So what happened on Friday just triggered that. Plus, you're tired and you're doing the best you can, and so it just brings out that child that was um, made to feel ashamed, criticised, judged, and and they were unbearable feelings when you were little, and so you just blocked them out because you couldn't deal with them. But now you've got lots of resources that can help you in this time. I'm here for you, and there's lots of little things you've learned that can hold you and just support you. So when all that comes up, you can come and just lie down, put your hands on your belly, and just feel what you're feeling. Just sort of like when somebody says you're not doing the right thing, it'll trigger your guilt. So that'll be all stored down in your belly as well. Just sort of feeling if you've done something wrong, and that yeah. And then so what happens when that happens? The thing that we can do then is reject ourselves. So you feel shame, you feel like I'm bad, and then we leave ourselves. And that's what happens. So the shame comes, and you leave yourself, and then you haven't got a leg to stand on. So it's just seeing, okay, this is old shame from the past. This is a flashback I'm having. I've actually got a really nice thing that Louise gave me about flashback.
Oh, I, I sent her an email, but I don't think the email that it went through. I don't know if I used the wrong email for Louise Carroll. Is that?
Yeah, she said that, I think it's called the medicine. I'll just have a look and see. Did I give you her phone number too?
No, just the email. But I got an email back saying it wasn't delivered like 2 weeks
Oh,
after the email, and I'm not sure why. Um, but I just wanted to double check.
yeah. I'll send you her phone number as well. So well, I'll just write that down so I don't forget.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so she gave me this little sheet. It's called 13 Steps for Managing Flashbacks, which I think would have been what you had. And so I'll send you this sheet. And so if the first step is say to yourself, I'm having a flashback. And flashbacks take us into a timeless part of the psyche that feels as helpless, hopeless, and surrounded by danger as you were in childhood. The feelings and sensations you are experiencing are past memories that cannot hurt you now. And that's the key, that it's just like, triggered this, and often in a situation that happens where the feelings of it are I see to be very exaggerated compared to what's actually happening. That's when you know you're having a flashback. And, remind yourself, I am afraid, but I am not in danger. I am safe now, here in the present. And remember, you are now in the safety of the present, far from the danger of the past. So like now I'm here with you as well, holding you so that you can let these feelings come up. The third step is own your right, your need to have boundaries. Remind yourself that you do not have to allow anyone to mistreat you. You are free to leave dangerous situations and protest unfair behaviour. So it sounded like this person was dumping stuff on the three of you, really. Just sort of, yeah. It's a sad thing, but in our humanity, if we're feeling small in ourselves, we can, judge someone else and criticize someone else to make us feel better, which is a crazy thing to do, but it's a very wounding thing. Yeah. Then speak reassuringly to the inner child, and that's what we're doing with the grounding yourself and the things. And the child needs to know that you love her unconditionally, that she can come to you for comfort and protection when she's lost and scared. And Then the next thing is deconstruct eternity thinking. In childhood, fear and abandonment felt endless. A safer future was unimaginable. Remember, the flashback will pass as it has many times before. So it kind of feels like, oh my God, this is never going to end. I'm going to be stuck like this forever, you know, all that sort of thinking. And remind yourself that you are in an adult body with allies, skills, and resources to protect you that you never had as a child. Yeah. Feeling small and little is a sure sign of a flashback. Yeah. And then ease back into your body. So that's what I've been teaching you to do. Fear launches us into heady worrying or numbing out and spacing out. Gently ask your body to relax. And so I've done a lot of that. Feel each of the major, well, I've done it in my way, but then breathe deeply and slowly, which I've been teaching you to do. And then the next one is slowing down. So that what happens when the nervous system gets upset is it goes really fast rather than that nice little pulse, slowing pulse. Find a safe space to unwind and soothe yourself. Wrap yourself in a blanket, hold a stuffed animal, lie down in a bath or a closet, or take a nap. Kind of like, yeah, those things. And feel the fear in your body without reacting to it. Fear is just an energy in your body that cannot hurt you if you do not run from it or react self-destructively to it. And that's what we've been like now. Now what's starting to come up is you're feeling these frozen feelings more, which is good. It's just seeing that they're old feelings that have been stuck in your body and that they can start to release. Then resist the inner critics dramatizing and catastrophizing. Use thought stopping to halt its endless exaggeration of danger and constant planning to control the uncontrollable. Refuse to shame, hate, or abandon yourself. So when that feeling of shame comes up, it's saying, stop, no, I'm not going to do this to myself. Channel the anger of self-attack in saying no to unfair self-criticism. So like it sounds like that person was just dumping on the three of you, really, and just sort of, at least it wasn't just you. The three of you were there. Sort of use thought substitution to replace negative thinking with a memorized list of qualities and accomplishments. So that's when we get to the sixth chakra, that's what we're going to look at, what the positive things that you have about yourself. Like, like I have a list of them that I put up, and even sometimes asking other people what are the good qualities they see in you, and then writing them down, letting them see, like, yeah, that's what I've done. People, things that people say to you, that you're kind and you're caring and you're thoughtful, beautiful, you're sensitive, you're gentle, smart, all those things that are positive things. You can have them I used to have them on a sheet on the wall to remind me, because I've got a very strong critic too that can kill me off the past. Allow yourself to grieve. Flashbacks are opportunities to release old unexpressed feelings of fear, hurt, and abandonment, and to validate and then soothe the child's past experience of helplessness and hopelessness. Healthy grieving can turn our tears into self-compassion and our anger into self-protection. So it's like what we'll tend to do, the shame comes up and we abandon ourselves. So it's just like saying no to the shame and just, I am a worthwhile person. And so, yeah. Then cultivate safe relationships and seek support, which you're doing, like coming to me and probably other people too. Take time alone when you need it, but don't let shame isolate you. And that's a thing that can happen with shame. We're going to hide. Feeling shame doesn't mean you are shameful. And educate your intimates about flashbacks and ask them to help you talk and feel your way through them. That may or may not be able to do that at the moment. Yeah. Like I've got a few friends that I can go blah to, and say, yeah. But I'm careful about, like with my family, I probably wouldn't say too much because they wouldn't understand. But just like picking people that understand. And learn to identify the types of triggers that lead to flashbacks. Avoid unsafe people, places, activities, and triggering mental processes. Practice preventative maintenance with these steps, which, when triggering situations, are unavoidable. So, is this person who criticised you, are they the ones assessing you, or?
Part part of the senior team that does. I mean, they weren't. I guess the thing is they weren't like what they were saying wasn't untrue.
Mm.
Like we had, you know, we do miss things and we don't always like come on time to clinics and that kind of thing. So I think I don't know. It was just really hard to hear and like I'm not sure how much of it was what I've done versus what my colleagues have.
Yeah, yeah,
My default is to just assume it's all my fault.
mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah. So that's another thing, you can take it on as all your fault, you know, when it isn't. It's sort of like you're just saying, well, this is when criticism can be constructive, like it can be, okay, saying I just need to look at this, I need to look at that, or we can take on something like, and you can say to other things, well, this isn't true, that's not me, that's not me, and yeah, so um, yeah. And the thing is, like, um, criticism doesn't mean you're a bad person, but the child has learnt that. So it's just saying to the child, listen, you're not a bad person. You've done the best you can do. You've been tired, and sometimes you have missed a few things. But yeah, and just but it's, you know, like that's a great game of parents to shame the kids so that they do what they're told. You know, try to control them. So, yeah. And I mean, you know, to be doing your internship in this year when everybody's really stressed, it's just a bloody hard call. You know, it's just like having a passion for yourself, and this person's probably stressed themselves by what's been happening, and just sort of, yeah. And sometimes people judge somebody else because they're judging themselves as well. You know, and just, they might be very self-critical, and yeah, okay. Yeah, and then like the 12th step is figure out what you are flashing back to, trigger flashbacks are opportunities to discover, validate, and heal our wounds from past abuse and abandonment. They also point to our still unmet developmental needs that can provide motivation to get them met. So, so these, when these feelings come up, they are the child in us that hasn't grown, and so, you know, it's not to be ashamed of that part. It's just to see, oh God, this part's been locked away for so long, and she doesn't. And it's like, now I can help her grow up. You know, I can help her. Yeah, rather than feeling ashamed, and be patient with a slow recovery process. It takes time in the present to become unadrenalized, and considerable time in the future to gradually decrease the intensity, duration, and frequency of the flashbacks. Real recovery is a gradually progressive process, sometimes 2 steps forward and 1 back. So, not attain salvation fantasy. Don't beat yourself up for having a flashback. Like, I'll have flashbacks sometimes, not as much as I used to have, but I can still be triggered by, you know, mainly my family or something, things that happen. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So with the what this person said, were there some things that you could get some value out of,
I
or
think
what? Yeah.
I think so, but the second part is like I get so stressed that I can't really take in what they're saying because
Yes. Yeah. So the stress is the child freaking out. The stress is the child freaking out. Just sort of, yeah.
all I really hear is my brain noise, and I don't really.
Yes. Yeah. 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 So that, you know, like that little child was hearing this criticism, she's not there. She just leaves, and just sort, and you know, um, and then part of, there's no adult there to to hold her. So that's what happens, and just so you're not present in that moment, and you can't, and all you can see is that you're this bad person, or you're going to be punished, or you're going to be kicked out of the medical profession or something. You know, just some.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the fear. Yeah, yeah. We got this far. I don't think they're going to kick you out. But, yeah, yeah.
It's definitely most prominent is the shame. I really feel a lot of shame in my life.
Do you? Yeah. So okay. So just feel that shame and just feel, just allow it to be there. Give it space. Let that shame be there. Give it a little place in your heart and just say welcome, welcome to it. And as you're welcoming that shame, still feel your feet and feel your breathe into your belly and feel your buttocks on the chair. And so the shame stores in this solar plexus area, like where these ribs are. So if you could put your hands on your ribs here, those lower ribs, and just gently press your hands into the side of the ribs and just take a breath, breathing into them. And then on the out breath, can you make a k or a z, z, ha, those sort of sounds. Ha, 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 z, 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 k, 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 sh, 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 s, 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 s. So feel how you're collapsing when you do that. Can you, and that's what I show you, get my, in my video so you can see. So if I'm here like this, and I'm going cut and pulling in like this, cut, I'm not, there's no sound going to come out my throat. So whereas if I'm here, I'm connected into the earth, I breathe into my belly, I take a breath in and these ribs fan out, and then I can go ka 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 rather than ka ka ka. That's when the sound gets locked in, and this is a shame does this. This is what happens. We feel ashamed, and that happens there. But if we can go, okay, I can push against that, even if you don't even make a sound, but you can feel that you can breathe out against your hands. If I have it in the back there like that, but cut, sh, ha. So let me see. Okay, so put your hands on your ribs again, and just let me see, and just sort of like, and just say, just take a breath in, and feel how they can fan out, and then just breathe out and push against them. Just, we won't make any sound for the moment, just breathing in and breathing out. But push your feet into the ground at the same time as you breathe out. So you take a breath in, and as you breathe out, press your feet into the ground. Pushing, so one thing to do is you breathe in and you collapse down, or the other thing is to breathe in and press through your feet and just imagine that you're just pressing against those hands. That's it. Yeah, and press against the hand as you. So as you breathe in, you're breathing into your lower belly. If you breathe up into your chest, you've got nowhere to go. So if you breathe into your lower belly and then push your hands out. And then make a sound with that ha, ka, z, z, ha. And just rest, love. Have a little rest. Yeah.
I'm struggling to breathe into my belly because the
Yeah.
sort of part here feels like it's stuck.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I try and breathe in, it hurts all the way up to my throat. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it easier on the floor to do that when you're lying down?
I'm not sure. I can try.
Sure. Just come and lie down and let me see. Just might have to shift your camera a bit. And just,
Oh, darn it.
Okay. Okay. So just settle on the floor first and just feel how your feet touch the floor, your heels touch the floor, your calves, your thighs, the weight in your buttocks. Notice the space behind your waist and your lower ribs, your shoulders on the floor, and the point of contact of your head. And just feel that you're held and supported by the earth, Mother. And then bend up your knees so your feet are flat on the floor. And just do that little movement of just gently rocking your pelvis forward and back. So you rock your pelvis so your waist presses into the floor and your waist releases from the floor. Okay. And feeling as you do that, as your lower back flattens, your chin goes away from your chest, and you kind of roll over that point on your head. And then rest from that. Now, instead of doing that movement, can you keep the chin where it is? And as you press through through your feet and your pelvis rocks back, can you slide your head back on the floor? So this, yeah. So you press through your feet and your head slides back on the floor. So the neck stays long. There. Sliding on the floor. Okay. Now, as you release that pressure, just take a breath into your lower belly. And as you press through your feet, can you blow out the candle? So your neck stays long and you're blowing out the candle. That's it. And then just make a little sound with that. Ooh. And breathing in. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. And now, can you place your hands on around your ribs, those lower ribs? Just hold your hands on your lower ribs. Okay. Yep. Okay. And this time, do the little movement of breathing into your belly and feeling that as you breathe into your belly, that you could breathe into those lower ribs. So you're filling up all the lower belly. And as you breathe out, and you're blowing out the candle. Now, instead of blowing out the candle this time, could you make a zzz sound? Zzz. And as you make the zzz sound, could you think of pushing those ribs out the side? The ribs are pressing out the side. Just gently. Okay, just rest from that. We'll do something else to help these little ribs of yours to, yeah. It's all right. Don't apologize. I just sort of. So we have a diaphragm in this, like a trampoline in the middle there that can get tight. So we're just going to do some little seesaw breathing to just help to maybe free this diaphragm a little bit. Place one hand on your lower belly and one on your chest. And take a breath into your lower belly and then breathe out and push the air up into your chest. Push it up into your chest and then push it back down, take it into your lower belly and push it up into your chest. Push it down into your belly and up into your chest. And down into your belly and up into your chest, and just rest from that. And now can you breathe into your chest and push the air out into your belly. Breathe into your chest and push the air out into your belly. Breathe into your chest and push the air out into your belly. Breathe into your chest and push the air out into your belly. Okay, and rest from that. Bring your hands back there again. So one on your belly, one on your chest, and breathe into either your chest or your belly. Hold the breath there, and then just push your belly up and down. and just rest from that. Place your hands on those lower ribs again, one on either side, and breathe into those. This time, breathe into those lower ribs, and just make a sound like as if you wanted to push your hands away. Somebody was holding you, and you didn't want them there, and you were just going to go ha and push them away, ha, ha, and you're just pushing them away, ha, ha, and pushing them out sideways. So you're doing a nice pushing down, which is fine, but I just want you to push out sideways so that they're like, and even if you put your hands around your back, around the back of your ribs, it might be easier. Just sort of when you get your hands there, and then from there push, and so you're like you're fanning out those ribs, ha, 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 ha.
I just can't do it.
Yeah. Like it's not hurting you.
It's not hurting. I
Just unusual. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when it goes inwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bring up your right knee and hold it with your left hand. Bring up your right knee, just hold it with your left hand, and just do a little move. Just like have your knee bent, and just do a little movement of taking the knee away from you and letting the hand go for the ride. So your shoulders will lift, and just like letting it. So you take the knee away in the direction of your other foot or something, just taking it away, and feeling how as you do that, your shoulder lifts, and the ribs at the back on your right side pressing towards the floor a little bit. Can you feel that? Okay. And then as you do that movement, can you just let out a like a sigh? Let your tongue poke out. And just letting out a sound. That's it. And again. And again. And this time as you do that, can you press those ribs at the back into the floor, like on the right side? So you're pushing through your leg and then just pressing down those ribs to help that movement. And pressing those ribs down into the floor. And pressing those ribs into the floor. Pressing those ribs into the floor again. Okay, and just rest from that. Let your leg go down and your arm come down. Rest. And just notice how you're lying on the floor and how your breathing is. You notice anything in your breathing or how you're lying on the floor? Nothing.
A little bit lopsided. More flat from the right.
Yeah, okay. So we're leaving you up. Bend up your knees again. And bring your right hand over your left knee now. Yeah. And do the same thing on this side. Take your knee away and just feeling how. And feeling that as you do that, that these ribs on the left side now press into the floor. Is that easier or harder than the other side? Or no different?
Maybe harder? I'm not sure. I think it feels different.
Yeah. So think of pressing those ribs on this left side into the floor. Just pressing down into the floor. Okay, good. And then as you do this, can you make that ha? And imagine that ha is like when you press down, so you're ha, and you're pressing down, ha. And let your tongue come right out. just let that go and have a rest. And now can you bend both of your knees up and take your knees when you're in your hands. So that you can have them around like that, or you can cross. I think that's the best way. Do it like that, and then just this time do both legs, and this time those ribs at the back will like let them. The shoulders will lift, and your ribs at the back will both press into the floor on both sides. And you could take them a little bit to the right if you wanted. Take the legs a little bit to the right, and then the different part of the back will press down, and then take them a little bit to the left, and feeling that. That's good. That's good. So this would be a nice thing to do. Just be like a baby rolling around, like that, and just kind of and feeling. Just have a little rest, no? Just your legs go down and rest. And just feeling how you're resting on the floor now. Noticing your breathing. Bring your knees up over your chest again and hold them with your hands. And this time, take a breath down into your lower belly, and do that same movement as you're breathing out, just pressing your legs away, like taking and making a sound like a ha. And think that you're pressing those ribs into the floor. Ha, the back ha, and go a little over onto the right again. And so feeling how the ribs like spread out a little bit on the floor, on that right side. And then coming over to the left and feeling how as you press down, they spread out a little bit. And just rest from that. So bring your hands underneath those lower ribs, like you're lying on the floor there. Like turn your palms up like that if you can, just sort of, yeah, just so you've got your hands there. And let's just do that movement that you were doing before, of just poking out your tongue. And can you press your ribs? It's like you can bring your knees over your chest if you want as well. Your knees can come up over the chest. And you're just doing that same sound, but you're not so much taking the legs away this time, but you're just taking them. So just like doing that ha sound. So you're taking a breath into your belly and you're poking out your tongue and you're just going ha and pressing back into your hands. Ha. And ha. That's it. Ha. And feel how your ribs are pressing onto your hands and how the ribs are sort of like opening, fanning out a little bit. Ha. Yeah, that's good. You're doing well. Yeah. Okay, just have a little rest. Can you feel when you laugh then how those ribs moved? Like kind of like how your diaphragm moves. So laughter is a really good way of freeing up this diaphragm as well. Sort of, and I think the laughter just is coming because the diaphragm's freeing up as well. It's getting a bit embarrassed, but it's a good thing to do that laughter like that. And just notice your breathing now, especially in that middle area. Just sort of, and feel how your ribs can move as you breathe in and out.
Um, I feel like with that, like I feel like yeah, the laughter is because I'm tensing a little bit, um, and just that little bit of release. I just feel a little, like
Mm-hmm.
a bit of like sadness in my throat, and I don't know if that's
Yeah.
like releasing old emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
Mm. So it's just, and that's what happens once we start to move. See, what we've done is we've tightened our body, held it all in, frozen things so that we don't feel. And what we're doing is using movement and sound to free up those parts. And so if sadness comes up, welcome it, like welcome it and say, welcome home into my heart. And just put that part that's sad in your heart and just let that feeling be there. And see these feelings, once they're acknowledged, like little children, if they're upset by something, just having somebody there to hold them and to listen to them, they'll calm down, and then they'll 2 minutes later they'll be out playing again. So these parts of us are children that have never been heard, and once we can hear them and just say hello to them and welcome them and love them, they'll just let that go.
I'm struggling to do that. I keep on wanting to tense and push them down again.
Yes, yeah, and that's a normal thing that'll happen. So I think these little movements, just playing with that one leg over your chest, just doing those, what we've just done today, would be a way to just help you um, soften and it's like it's yeah, a way to show you back how to lengthen, to do that cut without the holding here that's happening in the front. So just doing that lets the flexors let go in the front. Yeah.
Lying on my back was a bit easier. It's it's the first time I felt my ribs go outwards a little bit.
Yeah. Good.
Just that,
Yeah. 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 So, you've had that strategy for a long, long time. The ribs are the last thing to change. They do take a while. And yeah, it just takes a while. And so well done. Like I could see that there's a bit of, that change has happened now and just sort of, yeah. And that idea of like as you put one leg over your chest and hold on to it and then pressing into the floor is another way of getting grounded as well. So it's another nice little, I think that made sense to your nervous system and sort of, and then the tongue going out, let's go in that ah. So I would stick with that and just play with that this week and just sort of,
try and practice that in the mornings when I wake up. Do you think that's a good time to practice it?
yeah, that'll be good. And then anytime when you feel so like these emotions have come and trapped inside, you've lost your picture. That's better. Yeah. So and then you can even do them in sitting as well, like just like letting yourself go down like that and feeling that, like as you just bend from that, like let your hands be on your knees and on your thighs and just bending down and feeling how your back can round and like then you could even put your hands on your lower back and then feel that you could press back into your hands. So there's or back into a chair or something. So there's all sorts of things you could do just to wake up that area so that actually what would be nice would be sitting in a chair. Like I've got a little cushion behind my chair here. See if I can put my computer down a bit. Pin this. Yeah, so I've got that little cushion there and I can just press back. Like I could do this, I could get my leg and just press. So I'm lifting the leg up a little bit, just pressing back and just feeling that idea of that happening. Ah, ah. just so that you get this feeling of how do these ribs, how can they be supported by the floor? Because what they've done is just held, which is a good strategy, at the time when we couldn't express ourselves. But yeah. And so that's where the shame stores. So when you're feeling that shame, you'll pull in like this and it'll stop you being able to express yourself. So, yeah. So,
Do you think that's contributed to why I feel like my posture's a bit
yeah,
posture?
yeah, yeah. Well, if these flexors contract, it's going to pull you down like that. So, strangely enough, even doing more of it, like doing that, helps to release this, rather than trying to sit up straight when all this is tight and just held. And so, yeah. How's all that feeling?
Um, it it feels good. It feels a bit like I've done some exercise. I
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess my understanding of Feldenkrais is it's better to do it to release things slowly and gradually and not sort of shock your nervous system by trying to push too much.
Yes, well, if we shock the nerve, if you try and push too much, it won't let go. It's
Yeah.
like you have this fearful part. If you've got a child that's afraid of water and you try and just chuck it in the water, it's not going to go. Just go gently so that it starts to feel safe again. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's part of me just wants to, push and get it all out. But
Mm. Mm.
I guess catharsis doesn't really work like that. It's more just
Mm.
time.
Not when there's fear. It doesn't. It definitely doesn't. The fear needs to be supported, to feel safe and supported, and kindness, because the critic is so strong. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Compassion.
funny though because I can sit here in front of you now and I feel like I think I feel okay. But the minute I start feeling any kind of emotion whilst I'm doing those things, I suddenly feel so embarrassed
Yes.
and like not worthy of your time, and I just get.
Oh, Irene. Yeah. Yeah, that's like as a yeah, just and let yourself feel that feeling. My God, that poor little girl. She's so beautiful and so worthy of everything. She's worthwhile. And just hold her in your heart and just sort of, yeah. It's an honor for me to work with you. Truly. Yeah. So I feel so blessed. So yeah. I see you as a lot like me when I was younger, and yeah, and just wish I'd had somebody then to help me. Just sort of, yeah, yeah, and that and it's a breaking open of the shell, like that shell we built around us. That's where the pearl is inside, and just so yeah, so that will come out. And, yeah. Hmm.
So much.
So there's this like you can use some of these tools that we're like you're building up this resources that so that in the moment of that when you get triggered, some of it can start to wake up, and it's hard, and sometimes even just ringing like this. I'm happy if you want to ring me and say, listen, blah blah blah. I can say, well, I can just help you ground, center, and just hold you in love and compassion. That's really what you need, and just sort of something gentle. And yeah, and that's not what's happened in the past. You've been tried to live up to expectations of someone else, and just sort of, yeah. And in terms of work, you've done a good job, and I mean, your presence would be very healing for people anyway. you know, just you've got amazing energy yourself. It's just you've locked it, turned it against yourself because that's what we do. Yeah, but yeah, and this. So the resources that you have, first of all, is that kind compassion for yourself, that welcoming the feelings that come, grounding yourself, breathing into your lower belly. Getting down on the floor is probably the best, like get into bed or on the floor or something to bring yourself down to earth. and feel that connection through. Yeah. Yeah. But you're doing very well. I can see things opening up, like, you know, and the fact that the feelings are coming up is a good thing. It just means that that change is happening. It just, yeah. So, and that's what's most people that I work with, if they go through deep changes, that's they go through, they go blah lots of times. They come into me and just sort of, because that's as we get the stronger container, the more these old feelings can feel safe enough to come to the surface. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know when I was going through all that intense therapy with Louise, I was able to, I didn't realize, I thought I was a mess, but I was actually able to hold people that I work with much better, you know, kind of like, even though because things she taught me, I could tell them, you know, and just sort of, or just hold the loving container rather than freaking out at their fear and running away, or trying to pull them, get them to pull themselves together or something. Yeah. So that's going to help you in many ways in your work and things in the future. And just sort of, yeah. And when you feel that tension in your throat, remember that just the yawning. And then the that I think was good for you too, just doing the yawning. And then the smiling from the back of your throat rather than it's just that opening that happens. Okay, this is, if I feel this closing down, that's a critic coming in and trying to stop me expressing myself. Can I feel my feet? Can I breathe into my belly? Can I feel that this space can be open? Yeah, yeah. And just make whatever sounds feel nice to you. It's like, how do I, even if it's just a like humming, it could be just a hum. Anything is sort of, so you start to wire your brain that sound and movement go together. Like if you look at children, they're making sounds all the time when they're moving. They're, yeah, until they go into the classroom. Yeah. Making everything okay, welcoming it all, and just sort of, yeah. There's a song once that it's called "Bring 'em all in, bring 'em all in, bring 'em all in, bring 'em all in, bring 'em all into my heart," and bring the little fishes, bring the sharks. That's like all our feelings, like bring them all in to the heart, so we can, yeah, love them free. Really, that's what it is. Yeah. And so make sure you're eating well, like eating warming foods and things. Is something to nourish and nurture you, and just sort of, yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we finish?
No, I'm good, but yeah, maybe I'll try and call you if I need to during the week. I still have a lot of barriers with
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
that, or emailing, and it's all just,
Yeah.
I guess it's,
Shame comes up and you feel that you're bad and you've done something wrong and just sort of, yeah. So I expect that for people when I work with them, because that's how I work. I work with my energy will bring up all those feelings because that's what the healing is. So that's what I expect. And I've often had people go blah to me and bring up and just sort of, and see, I can very quickly help you, like, whereas on your own, you kind of go down the rabbit hole and, yeah, yeah. So,
it's, I
mm,
still really struggle with
mm,
people to help.
yes, yeah, yeah. And that's what we do. We lock it all inside and not ourselves to receive. And that's why the in breath is the opening to receive, and just sort of like, and asking for that help even from the universe, just sort of saying, please help, I don't know what to do here. And that trust that there's somebody there because as a child we thought it was no use asking for help because it wouldn't be there. And yeah, and learning that, yeah, yeah. Mm. And you know, we need one another. Need one another when we're downhearted. Need one another when we're so low. Need one another, do 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 do. Need one another now. So that's what it is. Yeah. So you know that song. You know that song. I am a rock. I am an island. I am a rock. I am an island. And a rock feels no pain, and an island never cries. So it's uh, on a winter's day in a deep and dark. But anyway, it's a song. The whole song's about it, how this guy kept his feelings all inside and shielded in his armor. I had no need of. Um, I'll, I'll find the words of it and send them to you. It's a song. It's called "I Am a Rock, I Am an Island," and just kind of like, yeah. So and that's what we've done. We've tried to make ourselves a rock and an island, and, yeah. But we're not. We're human beings, and I think the COVID things has made that very clear that we all need one another and just sort of can't live in isolation. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, sweetheart. Yeah. So, what's happening next week? Do you want a Sunday or a different day? Or
Sunday is good.
I'll send you the thing about the relaxation stuff. That's not in 2 weeks, but I will. I'll do that now before I forget.
Yeah. Next weekend Sunday is good. I think the weekend after I need to check. I might be working, but next weekend I'm still free.
Right, yeah. So, do you want 10 or 11?
At 10 if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Um.
Okay. Then the following week on the 5th, there's a voice workshop. But I'll send you, if you're
Yes,
free,
please.
yeah, I'll send you the details of that. I'll do it now and I won't forget. And I'll send you Louise's, I'll try and find out what I sent you before and get you the right details and things.
Oh, I'm not sure what happened, but thank you. Yeah.
I could have sent you the wrong number too, so I might have changed it or something, but I'll look for her latest email and send it to you. Okay, darling. So take care of your beautiful self and be kind to you. That's the main thing, and loving to yourself. Lots of love.